Alright, so we are continuing with percents. Hope you had a great Veterans Day yesterday and enjoyed your day off. But we are continuing with percents. If you're still struggling from Tuesday's lesson, it's totally okay. As long as you just keep practicing with that Desmos calculator, that's all that matters. For today's lesson, I'm using this blue calculator, but that is only because I need y'all to be able to see what, and once again, like notebook and seeing the Desmos calculator on my screen is just too much going on. So I'm using this just for y'all to be able to see it. But if you're at home, please be using that Desmos calculator. If we have an EOG, that's what you're going to be required to use. So I would hate for you not to know how to use it when the EOG comes around. So please use that Desmos calculator. But we're moving on with percent proportions. Obviously, you know what percents are. We've dealt with proportions before. Proportions, you're setting it up. Both sides are going to be equivalent. So you need to make sure that they're balanced and that they match. Nothing is different today. Things are still going to be balanced and matched. It's just now that one of our spots is going to be a percentage. So our introduction today, you're going to hear me say this a lot. I'm going to say is over of equals percent over 100. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again. It'll make more sense once you see an example. Another way of thinking of is and of would be thinking of part and whole. Okay, because thinking about it when you have a fraction or a ratio, part of it is a piece, and then the other part is the entire amount. So the part goes on top, the whole goes on the bottom. But for today, I'm going to refer to it as is and of. Tomorrow we'll talk more about the part and the whole, but I just wanted you to get used to seeing that because you will see a lot over the next week or so. So an example of a percent proportion. Today is solving these percent proportions. Tomorrow we're going to move into word problems. But once again, like I've told you a gazillion times, don't panic just because they're word problems. They're actually quite easy to solve. So if we just jump right on into some examples. If they give me this sentence, 24 is what percent of 60? Okay, so that's literally what the question is going to say. Okay, and I always tell my students, anytime you see the word percent or you see a percent sign, you need to go ahead and know you're going to be setting up a percent proportion. Okay, don't try to solve it any other way. Set up your percent proportion and you cannot go wrong. So what this question is saying is that imagine you have 60 M&Ms. Okay, 60 M&Ms are laid out on this paper. Let's just say 24 of them are blue. Okay, so 24 out of the 60 M&Ms are blue. They're asking me what percent is that? What percent of those M&Ms are just blue? Okay, so that's what this question is pretty much saying. But we're going to use our setup right here to help us solve this. Hopefully you're seeing some words in this problem that you also see up here. Whatever number is attached to those words is where those numbers go in the proportion. Okay, so for example, I see right here that it says 24 is, I see of 60, and then kind of right here in the middle, I see it says what percent. So to me, what jumps out right away is that I don't see a percent sign. I don't see a number going with the percent. So the percent must be what's missing. What I'm trying to find. It literally says what percent. I don't know what the percent is. I'm trying to figure it out. But the reason I boxed these in was because hopefully you can see that 24 goes with is, 6 goes with of. So therefore, I just have to put those numbers in those spots where they are in the proportion. So you'll see 24 goes on top because it's with my is. 60 goes on bottom because it's with my of. Okay, we just established that we don't know what the percent is, so in the spot of my percent, is going to be an X because I don't know what it is. And then this number down here is always going to be 100 because remember, 100 is always what your percentage is out of. So that's the one number that's never going to change. That's always going to be a 100 right there. So now I just solved my proportion like we've talked about last week. All right, you cross multiply. If I do 24 times 100, I'm going to get 2400. All right, and that's important because now I know that this side also has to equal 2400. So now what I do is I take this product and the number I haven't used yet, which is 60, I'm going to divide that by. So I would take my calculator, or you would take Desmos. 2400 divided by 60 gives me 40. So what that tells me is that this is going to be 40%. So remember I was talking about those M&Ms and the blue ones. So if there's 24 blue ones out of 60 total M&Ms, that would be 40% of them being blue. Okay? Let's look at another one. We're still using this up here. This is super important, so make sure you don't lose that. Let's try another one. So 15 is 30% of what number? Okay, now just like the other proportions we did, you never know where that X is going to go. You never know where that missing spot is going to be. The only thing you do know is that the 100 has to be on the bottom. That's the only thing that's not going to change. These other three spots, they could always have an X in them. Remember, they're going to give you three numbers. You're always going to be missing one. So let's look at what we have. Okay, first thing I notice is this percent right here. That should be the easiest and quickest thing to spot. If it's a 30%, it has to go in that percent spot in my proportion up here. Okay. Another thing I see is the word is. Well, is can't go with 30 because remember is and the percent spot. Remember, they're two different spots. So here's is, here's the percent. These two can't go together because they're two different spots on my proportion. So the 15 and the is must go together. And then once again, it literally says of what number. I do not know what my of is. I don't know what my of spot is up here. So now I think I've got everything filled out. Let's fill these spots in. So 15 is, remember is on top. Of what number? I don't have any number that goes with of, so it has to be an X. 30%. So in spot of that percent spot, I've got to put a 30. And then remember, my 100 doesn't change. Okay? So now I cross multiply the numbers that I actually have. Okay, that would be 1500. Now divide by the number that you haven't used yet, which is 30. So I'm going to do 1500 divided by 30, and that gives me 50. And this one's 50%, because remember, I'm not filling in the percent spot like I was up here. I'm filling in the of spot, which is just a number. So this is just 50. Okay? Let's look at another one. So pretty much what this one is saying is, I know I have 15 blue M&Ms. I don't know how many total M&Ms I have, but I know that these 15 blue M&Ms is 30% of the total amount. So now that I've solved it, now I know, okay, there were 15 blue M&Ms out of 50 total M&Ms in the group. Okay? I'm just making up these M&M things, trying to give you an understanding of what the numbers are talking about. All right, let's go to number 3. 78% of 350 is what number? Okay, you should be very excited when you see a percent sign because those are so easy to identify and figure out where they go. So like as soon as I see this percent right here, I know there's only one spot that can go in. Okay, I keep reading, I see of 350, and then I see is what number. Okay, a lot of people don't like it because 350 is technically touching of, but it's also touching is. But remember, if you put the 350 with is, And this of would just be chilling here by itself with no number attached to it. So the 350 and the of have to go together, because now if you keep reading, the is goes with the what number, okay? So this one is saying, I don't know what my is. I don't know what goes in my is spot. So my is going to be an X this time. I can see that 350 is my of. And then I can see that my percentage is 78. 100 stays the same. Okay? So I will cross multiply what I can, which would be this side, because those are numbers. If I do 350 times 78, I get, wow, 27,300. So now I take that and I divide it by 100, and I get 273. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. Oh, sorry. All right, number 4. We've got 98 is 105% of what number? Okay? So let's circle what's important. Well, this goes with is. There's my percentage. That makes me happy because they're easy to figure out. And then it says of what number. Now, one thing I do want you to understand here is I'm going to put in my numbers. There's my is. I don't know my of. I'm going to put in my percent. So I filled in all my spots, okay? But one thing I want you to notice is, remember, it's a proportion, so things are balanced. So since this side is improper, that tells you that this side's going to be improper. So for example, this number down here, it has to be less than 98 because the bigger number has to be on top. If the bigger number on top here, has to be the bigger number on top here too. So I got 120 down here for X. I should know that that's wrong because then these two sides would not be equal. Okay? So let me cross multiply what I can. That would give me 9,800. I divide 9,800 by 105. And I get, so 93.333, and that 3 keeps repeating. I'm just going to cut it off after 2 spots, so X equals 93.33. Okay? All right, we got time for one more. We've got 26% is 4.85 of what number? So the main reason I did this one was so that you could see that you can have a decimal, and that's totally fine. You're not going to get anything wrong. You do it the same way. So 26% is my percent. Here is my is. And once again, it says of what number. So of is what's missing. So there's my is, 4.85 on top. I do not know what the of is. 26 is my percent, so it goes in the percent spot. And then it's over 100. I'm going to cross multiply. That would give me 485. So then I do 185 divided by 26. I get 8.65. I'm just going to stop after that second number. Okay? So that's percent proportions. Remember, you need to remember that is over of equals percent over 100. Remember that saying, remember those spots, and then the rest of it's pretty simple. All right, so just as long as you remember what goes in each spot, remember you'll always have one of these spots missing. The 100 doesn't change because we're talking about percentages, and percents always have to be out of 100. So then it's is over of equals percent over 100.